Tonight on KGW News, a tense rescue from a rushing river.
Hey, he's going down the river!
The scramble to save a father and son who went in after their dog.
And Longview police traveled down to Southern California after a 64-year-old woman was stabbed to death and the suspect caught in LA.
She's an angel and he's a monster. I wish they never would have met.
Then some good news for theater goers because the show will go on.
It's exciting. I'm actually getting goosebumps right now thinking about it.
What saved the upcoming season for Portland Center Stage. Plus,
we've been dry for quite some time, but now here comes the rain as soon as Friday afternoon.
good evening. Thanks for joining us. I'm David Mulco. We begin tonight with new insight into the murder of a Longview woman, with family of the victim telling KGW the man accused of killing her was doing handyman work at her home. Alma McCarty has the update.
On August 5th, this house on a quiet lane in Longview became a crime scene.
We all wanted answers. It's been over a week and a half and we still have questions that have not been answered.
Among those questions, why this man, 51-year-old Alexander Rogers, allegedly stabbed Don Peters to death and nearly killed Andrew Peters, Don's brother-in-law, inside the home.
I wish they never would have met.
Jill Nunez is a relative of the Peters.
He obviously had been locked up for 20 years, so they really didn't know him. Somebody, I think, said, oh, this guy's looking for work.
Neighbors also told me Rogers was working as a handyman for the family and provided this security video showing the suspect enter and exit the home the morning of the murder.
He didn't have to do that. He could have done anything else. She'd still be with us.
Longview police and court documents confirm Rogers spent 2 decades in prison after he was convicted of attacking 2 people with a machete 1 county over. He'd only been out 10 months. Nunez says the Peters didn't know about his criminal past.
No, he wouldn't have been in their house if they did.
A week after the murder and attempted murder, investigators in LA tracked Rogers down, arresting him without incident. Longview police say Rogers will have an extradition hearing in California before being transferred back here to Washington. However, they're unaware of how long it will take. For Nunez and the rest of the Peters family, justice can't come soon enough as they pray for the recovery of Andrew, now out of the hospital, and grieve the loss of Dawn.
She was amazing. Everybody loved her. She was like your best friend, your mom, your grandma, anything and everybody would call her all the time. She'd give the biggest hugs. And every family dinner is not going to be the same.
In Longview, Alma McCarty, KGW News.
Developing tonight, it appears at least one person may have died from heat-related illness this week. Multnomah County health officials said today they're investigating the death of a 59-year-old man who was found in southeast Portland on Thursday. His death right now is suspected to be heat-related, though confirmation could take several weeks. If confirmed, this would be the first reported heat-related death in the county this year. Well, speaking of the weather, we're now seeing an abrupt change from the extreme start to the week, with much cooler weather in the Rose City tonight and rain. Yeah, now on the way. Celine Stevens is in for Matt, tracking those showers. Celine?
David, definitely, yeah, we're starting to cool off, and like you said, that rain coming within the next couple of hours, really. It's been a cloudy day. We had a little bit of a break, and now the clouds are back again. Right now, we're sitting at 70 degrees, so although we are going to see rain and temperatures are cooler than what we saw earlier this week, we're still not going to be cold. We're still going to be seeing 70s every day, but taking a look at our temperatures right now, it's 11 o'clock, and it's still 70 in Vancouver, 71 in Troutdale, upper 60s in Aurora. Other places like Corvallis, mid-60s as well, and along the coast, low 60s, 61 degrees in Tillamook. And so those highs today, we were warm. Again, not as warm as earlier this week when we were almost at triple digits, but 80 degrees is where we hit in Portland, 81 in Hillsborough, 82 in McMinnville, lots of 80s you'll notice, and along the coast, more 60s, 70s in places like Tillamook as well. And so here's what's coming for us. Right now, we're looking at midnight. In just an hour or so, we're going to see some of those little spotty showers pushing through our area overnight. This could start as early as 11:30. So in the next 30 minutes, looks like overnight around 4:30, we see another some showers push through our area briefly. But the real rain comes a little bit in the morning as well, 7 a.m. But the real rain comes around 3 p.m. into 4 o'clock tomorrow. That's when we're going to see that heavy, steadier rain push through our area. We could see up to ½ inch of rain by the time this is done through Saturday. And even on Saturday, then we're dealing with some scattered showers. We'll talk more about it in a bit.
Yeah, showers overnight, heaviest rain tomorrow afternoon to evening. Thanks, Celine. To get you caught up on tonight's other headlines now, searchers have recovered the body today of a 16-year-old who authorities say drowned while swimming in the Columbia. Witness says the teen was in the water at Frenchman's Bar Park last night when the current swept him downstream. He said he saw the boy struggling, jumped in and tried to reach him, but he disappeared under the surface.
It's heart-wrenching. My heart goes out to the family and the friends and the trauma that they must feel and the sadness. You wish you could have acted faster. It happened so fast.
The sheriff's office warns at the spot there is a drop off in the river about 10 to 15 feet from the shoreline where the current quickly picks up. Skamania County detectives are now calling a death in a remote forest a homicide. Authorities found the body of 20-year-old Jacob Desha of Carson near U.S. Forest Service Road 43 last month. Detectives are asking anyone living in the Hemlock and Stabler areas and along Wind River Road to check surveillance video from July 1st to July 20th for any suspicious activity. And the Coast Guard has suspended its search in the mysterious disappearance of a fisherman. The 65-year-old was last heard from on Friday. His boat was sending out an automatic navigation signal, so crews tracked it down the Oregon coast all the way to Eureka, California. But once they found the craft, there was no sign of the fisherman on board. Crews searched more than 2,100 square miles with no luck, and now there was never a distress call. New at 11, call it a windfall created in large part by the community, with Portland Center Stage announcing its upcoming season is now secure after concern the curtain would fall for good. Catherine Cook is here with the good news on how the millions they needed came together. Catherine?
David, they are really encouraged and thankful, but still have a long way to go. For several years, the company says it's been operating with no wiggle room, a pattern they could no longer sustain.
It's a really powerful, exciting day.
A day of celebration inside the Portland Armory after months sprinkled with drama.
Theater at its best.
An unavoidable plot, which Portland Center Stage laid out in May. The city's largest theater company needed to raise $9 million in just over a year or face possible closure. On Tuesday, they announced they're well on their way with $3.6 million. That's $1 million more than their first benchmark and 2 weeks ahead of schedule.
So it's amazing to sit here right now. You know, there's always a moment of doubt in the beginning, but this moment kind of erases all of that, and it's super motivating.
Edwina Kane is Director of Development with Portland Center Stage. Kane says nearly 2,000 donors opened their wallets and wrote checks for as little as $5. State lawmakers stepped up, too, with a bill supporting arts and culture. For Portland Center Stage, that meant $1.5 million.
And that's just, it's exciting. I'm actually getting goosebumps right now thinking about it.
The impact on our community does matter.
Artistic Director Marissa Wolf says since the pandemic, funding and ticket sales haven't been consistent. One season promising, the next discouraging. All of it, Wolf says, as the company operated without an endowment or line of credit.
The expression sort of building the plane as you're flying it. It has been deeply challenging to live in survival mode and to be in sort of a fight or flight place.
Of the $9 million they're raising, $4 million will cover annual expenses for the season that kicks off in October. The remaining $5 will give Portland Center Stage enough reserves to ensure the company's future and protect what audiences hold dear.
Have a chance to laugh collectively or to feel a sense of ache and longing and healing and collective imagination and possibility. That's what the theater offers.
In Northwest Portland, Catherine Cook, KGW News.
In an update, a federal judge has struck down Trump administration guidance today aimed at eliminating diversity, equity, and inclusion programs at schools and universities. The judge ruling the Education Department violated the law when it threatened to pull federal funding from schools that continued DEI initiatives. There's been no comment yet from the department, which is now supposed to drop said guidance. Meanwhile, President Trump is set to fly to Alaska in the morning, where he's set to meet with the Russian president at a high-stakes summit. That says Ukraine's president, who will not be part of that meeting, has urged Trump not to be deceived by Vladimir Putin. Jay Gray with a preview.
Good evening from Anchorage on the eve of the peace summit that will take place here tomorrow. Both President Trump as well as Russian President Vladimir Putin making their way into this area of Alaska tomorrow for what's going to be a historic meeting. Now, there are a lot of questions surrounding what's going to happen here. A lot of people wondering many things. Why is it taking place? Why was it rushed together in just a week? Are there ulterior motives here? Do the men want publicity? Do they want political clout? Will other deals other than the war in Ukraine be discussed? That's all something that we won't have answers to until it is over, if then. What we also know is that there are questions about why one of the key players is being left out. That, of course, Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky, who will not be at the summit and has said that nothing can be established here that would bring peace until he is involved in these discussions. And moving into this, both President Putin and President Trump have said they are excited, feel like they can accomplish a lot, but they've also been quick to point out that there will not be a signed document when they leave here, that there will not be peace. In fact, President Trump has said that there will need to be, if things go the way they should, another summit involving all three of the leaders. And he says that would happen very quickly. So a lot of attention here, the world waiting, watching to see what happens next. But for now, that's the latest from here in Anchorage. I'm Jay Gray, NBC News.
New tonight, a vigil was held outside Portland City Hall for journalists killed in Gaza over the weekend. People in the community placed flowers and held signs in honor of Anas al-Sharif and 4 other Al Jazeera journalists who were killed in an airstrike on Sunday. Organizers are calling for Portland to sever its sister city ties with Ashkelon. It's a city in Israel where al-Sharif's family is from. Those we talked with at the vigil say these journalists reporting from inside Gaza gave them a new perspective on the war.
A lot of people here have followed his reporting for many months and feel a connection with him in particular. In the last couple of years, the truth has come out in a big way.
The Israeli military claims al-Sharif was a terrorist, quote, who posed as a journalist, end quote, and was responsible for advancing rocket attacks against Israeli civilians. NBC News reports the Israeli military did not respond to a request for evidence of that claim.